Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of the Muslim Gamers Podcast. We are glad to have you with us, whether you're watching or listening, and we hope you've been enjoying the ride so far. Today, we've got something really special lined up. We're joined by a guest who's been making waves in the online gaming scene with his clean and entertaining content, Mohammad Oubeid, better known as Mobeast Gaming. If you're on Instagram or YouTube and love bite-sized, hype gaming moments without all the unnecessary noise, you probably come across his clips. We'll be talking to Mobeast about how he got started, what keeps him grounded in the content creation world, and the kind of space he's trying to carve out in the gaming community. It's a chill, insightful conversation, and we are excited to have him on the pod. Let's get into it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Muhammad and Laughing Man as well is joining us here.
Wa alaikum assalam, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you here. We're happy to have you here. Actually, I don't know if a lot of people know this. This is actually not my first time interviewing Mohammed about some of the content that he creates online. I don't broadcast this out everywhere because that podcast is no longer active, and I kind of took everything down for it. Called the Youth Matters podcast, and back then it was the Beast Journey that Mohammed was doing, where he focused around like fitness type content. And when we recorded that episode, we did it in his bedroom. I don't know if you remember this, Mohammed, but I was supposed to bring like extra mics with me in this hard case.
Yeah.
I opened up the case. It turned out to be my drill bits, so I got the cases mixed up.
I remember you had that. It was like a mic. It was just like a little handle.
It was like a handheld recorder,
and we just pass it and share it, and it was like in the middle. Yeah. And my setup was like just a monitor, a small glass desk, and an Xbox and a small PC, and that was it. Like,
no, I mean, you had a lot more. I remember you having a bunch of figures, a bunch of the Halo novels.
I had the Halo novels. I had a little bit of figures. There wasn't. It was like a smaller room.
It's nothing compared to what you have right now.
I know. Alhamdulillah.
Hey, we all gotta start somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was like 10 years ago. About now, right?
Yeah.
It was about 10 years ago.
Right. It was 2015. Yeah. Oh my goodness, time has flown.
Yeah. I had an Xbox One at the time. Yeah, the VCR one. Yeah,
nice.
I still have somewhere here.
Yeah. Mine's still hooked up to the TV because I can't afford a new one. So the reason I bring that up is I know you used to do fitness content and you were into gaming. But what was it that sparked your shift towards actually creating gaming content and moving away from the fitness?
Well, in terms of the fitness, I kind of like dropped it after I think 3 or 4 years. It was just YouTube vlogging and everything.
Okay.
I had a fitness business. It was mainly online and a couple like in-person clients. And then it just wasn't working out. I just didn't have that fitness online persona. Like I just didn't really flash my body in a certain way, like or just act a certain way. I wasn't really into that, and plus with our dean, like it doesn't really, and I wasn't extravagantly crazy strong at the time. Like I wasn't, hey, I'm able to deadlift like 800 pounds at like 180. Like that's something impressive. People start watching you. So I was just like an average dude. And then
you weren't taking roids.
I wasn't taking roids. I still don't. The max I do is like creatine and pre-workout. Like that's the most controversial thing. but
Liver King told me, he's all natural and
yeah, that got debunked real quick, real quick. And it's probably like I got back into. I started a business again like many years later. It was more all in person. I had like an actual space and everything. And I kind of marketed myself as like the fitness nerd. Everyone was just like, in the gym, like either just gym bros and everything. Everyone was into partying and stuff. And I wasn't really into that, obviously, our dean. And, I was just always into gaming. So I kind of took advantage of that where other than like gearing my business towards like business professionals, coming from like the real estate world and everything. But I also kind of did a twist where I combined the gaming with it. I even did like a couple like nerdy videos. I dressed up as Kratos and did a whole workout. I trained for it for like 3 months, got my body in a certain amount of shape so I can like look similar to Kratos, but I didn't shave my head. But I was always like, if I ever do it again, I'll shave my head. But and I kind of like I combined the two together. And around that time I started like really collecting things. And it kind of just began from there. I was like, I'll just post a couple things here and there. The channel, actually, if you look back, I started it like it was officially created 2017, 2018. And people always tell me, "Oh, you should post stuff." I'm like, "No, not really. Like, I'm not. I'm over this YouTube thing. Like, that was way past me." And then the collection grew, and then like I was always into gaming, and I started even game developing on my own, just like
Okay.
casually. I wanted to be a game developer, still do, and mainly for like VR. But so and always watching YouTube videos and podcasts and news and everything, and it just became the gaming was always one of my outlets. There was like fitness and gaming and nerd stuff. Like those are the two outlets that I had. So I mean, I don't know. I just kept hearing people, "You should do it. You should do it." One day, I just started to do it. Like that was it. Like I felt like I don't have anything crazy different to say. It was just more like I like the VR aspect of gaming. I like the immersive side. I like the single player. I like the retro scene. I like comparing a lot of tech. I have a plethora of different types of consoles, and I'm into PC. I don't.
You're one of the
I'm
only
into
few
everything.
people I know that has a Retroid Pocket 5.
I was like, dude, I'm not really into like Android emulators because like, dude, I have PC handhelds and everything, but like,
Right.
I feel like the Retroid was kind of a good balance. I was like, okay, like it's not too crazy expensive. It's not worth it. Some of them get so close to like a Steam Deck price or
Right,
Asus ROG.
exactly.
I'm like, why am I gonna buy Android with Android device that's limited on emulation and stuff? But that's a whole different conversation. But
kind of speaking of that, like quick aside,
go
you
ahead.
guys saw the new update. Steam OS is now available on any handheld device. Which
they finally released it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It wasn't it just officially for the Legion Go S first, right? Or is it just?
Yeah, there was the Legion Go, and then they made it available for the S now, right? No, not the. Hold on, there was two Legion
and
Go's
the
that came out
ROG,
with.
the ROG Ally, as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's definitely gonna change the market for sure. I mean,
because now you can get the superior hardware. Because I think the ROG Ally has better performance. You could get that and put like Steam OS on it. Get the best of both.
Like I don't mind Windows. It's just I'm so used to inconvenient tech and software that I'm able to like manage it. But like if I was an average Joe, I'm like, Windows is not built for a gaming handheld. And there's been leaks for the whole Xbox Asus ROG collaboration. I don't know if you guys saw that. They actually leaked the actual device.
I did see that.
What people are calling the ugly Xbox handheld. Which I don't think is ugly, but
I think they're just trying to figure out a way to like create the software where it's it's good for handheld, but we have to wait and see for that still.
Definitely. That's an entirely different conversation. And I don't know if you've listened to any of our episodes of the podcast, but we all have Steam Decks. So we're all like, PC gaming handheld nerds.
OG or OLED?
I have the OG. Actually, Laughing Man, I don't know if you have.
I
never got which one you have.
OLED,
you have an OLED.
The regular
last year.
The regular or the special edition?
What's the special edition?
That's the one with the red.
It was the orange, body. like the Half-Life kind of themed.
Oh, I didn't get that. I just got
I barely got that. I was like fighting so hard online to get it. I was like, I gotta get it. Yeah.
Wow. Man.
Yeah, I was just like, just give me the one with the 1 terabyte. Like, just call it a day.
It's so much lighter. It's crazy compared to the original one.
Yeah. No, when the OLED was first revealed, Abdul decided to upgrade to that one, and he had the LCD, so I bought his LCD. That's
okay, cool.
Yeah, and I just upgraded and put a 2 terabyte SSD on there. So
yeah, there's even. I mean, I wish Steam Deck had this too. Like the ROG. Now the new X, the black one has like
size.
but I found there's adapters for the old one.
Okay.
So you have to kind of like mess around with it a little bit. There's an adapter to put a full size one.
Okay.
You kind of have to be careful, like how you like close the case back in. It might have a little bit of a bulge, but people have used it and it's perfectly fine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now especially with Steam OS working on there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That'll be really great. Do you ever miss making fitness content? I'm not talking about like dealing with the whole YouTube algorithm or trying to get the views, but just making the content itself.
I mean, I mainly just do it on Instagram and TikTok, and I just kind of just post it. I was like, hey, like this is what I'm doing. Like, I don't sit here and post daily and create content and talk about it. I mean, sometimes I want to. I've done me and Mohammad Mabrouk, if you guys know him, the imam that used to be in Temecula, Murrieta, and then he moved. He
moved to like somewhere in Northern California, right?
Yeah, he was in NorCal. He got into fitness and everything, so we did a couple stuff here and there.
Nice.
We always talk about it. And For me, it's if I were to do it again, like full on, it would be more from a self-development perspective
Okay.
for Muslim youth mainly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the whole, other than me just posting, hey, because I get into different aspects of fitness in terms of like I've competed in martial arts, powerlifting, not bodybuilding. Like now, like my thing is like calisthenics, and doing advancing in that. I just like share those type of things. But if I were to do it again, it would be some kind of form, or it'd be like a podcast or some kind of occasional program where it's geared towards the youth, and like they're able to like Muslim kids, when they're, especially in this country, or along other than the outward pressures, there's like the inward pressures in homes and stuff like that. And for me, it was like fitness was a huge self-development type of thing. And I've shared my story with you before, and a lot of people, even online, like it kind of kept me grounded and disciplined, and I learned a lot about the dunya, like from fitness. And that's some of the principles till this day I apply, and I always learn something new about myself or how to handle certain situations. And for me, it's like mainly an outlet. So if I were to do it, it'd be something along those lines. I don't miss the whole, hey, look at my full day of eating. And there's only so many meals that you could talk about online, and all the information's out there. It's already been done. And I feel like the fitness space has changed a lot in terms of what people watch. And I'm not really into that right now.
Okay. So there's two things I want to talk about with that. One is this is just my opinion. I think that kind of content would do really well, because especially once, some of the parents or the other parents at my kids' school, they're like, oh, you do a gaming podcast. Tell us about like some alternative media that our Muslim kids can consume other than like all the other stuff that's out there. Like a dad of his son who's I want to say he's in elementary school. He told me that his son started watching Squid Games. And I'm like, that is absolutely not even kid friendly at all.
How old is the kid? Do you know, like elementary?
I want to say he's in elementary school.
That's interesting.
Maybe 5th grade. Which I still think is very young. Like, even
it's not far fetched. Do you remember what middle schoolers and elementary kids used to talk about in school?
Yeah. Like
Comedy Central, bro. Like they used to watch Dave Chappelle.
Like, come on. Let's all be honest here. What age did all of us get our hands on like a GTA game? Let's be real here.
Yeah.
Like it. So I do get where you're coming from, Faraj, since you're a father.
Yeah,
but
it's not far fetched.
I think we got to give. I'm not a parent, so feel free to like call me out on saying this, but I think it's fair to, if he's monitoring his kids and he knows his kid is watching that, and they're maybe talking about it. And Squid Games, it's kind of, you could use it to like teach a kid a lesson about, like, I don't know, capitalism, like corporate,
not everyth's about money
and stuff. Yeah, I think there's some valid lessons.
Well, I didn't finish my story there.
Okay,
because what it was because he told me, it's like, oh yeah, my son started watching Squid Game, and it's actually at the school that he's watching. I'm like, what do you mean at the school? There's no way the teachers would show this to the kids. So it's like he's learning it from the other kids and stuff as well. So yeah, and it's at an Islamic school, so that tells you like, oh, we think, oh yeah, we put our kids in Islamic schools and they're 100% safe. That's it hasn't been.
They might be showing clips of it.
Yeah, no. He's saying he's watching it with the other kids who bring their own devices from home, and
so I'm sure you guys have heard. I have friends who have either sent their kids to Islamic schools or have worked at Islamic schools as teachers. And, they have their benefits. I'm not going to like completely trash them or put them under the bus. But the idea that they're inherently better than like secular public schools, that needs to be done away with. In many instances, they're kind of worse in some ways. I'll like, one example is like, no matter what type of school you send your kids to, they're gonna meet with other kids. They're gonna be exposed to like what those kids bring in. And I don't think your friend's son had this issue, but I know friends where, like, let's say the kid is Black American or Somali or Sudanese. They always face some sort of either bullying or like some sort of like, they just don't fit in because most Islamic schools are Arab Desi, kids and stuff. So they have their benefits, and some Islamic schools are decent. Like they're they have high standards, they hire good teachers, but let's not put them on a pedestal.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. No, but the reason I was bringing that up, I know we kind of went on a pretty big tangent, was I think there is definitely a space for the type of content that you have in mind, Mohammed, for like a self development centered fitness
Yeah.
type of thing. So yeah, I think there's definitely some space for it, and I think there will be some youth that or not just youth, but I think people in general that'll find that appealing. And yeah, if I I'm just trying to say I'm highly encouraging you to do that.
Yeah, I always think about it. It's just about time and
Oh yeah,
doing it right. Like I don't want to be like spotty with it either.
right.
There has to be kind of like a clear goal.
I
Like where am I ending up with
Hmm.
it? You know?
I'm gonna echo Faraj as well, mainly because this is also coming from friends I know who are teachers and stuff in
Hmm.
public schools, and many of them have said like they're teaching like middle schoolers and stuff. So these are Gen Alpha kids, and a lot of the guys they've picked up like the Andrew Tate like
Hmm.
ideologies and stuff,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and in many cases, even when the teacher is calling them out, if the teacher's a woman, they're talking back to the teacher with like kind of like very problematic like language or like statements. And some of the boys, like they're not, like based on what the friends have told me, they're not bad kids. They've just been misinformed. Like
Yeah. Of
Right.
how
they
things
this is the
actually are.
rabbit hole they've
Hmm.
Yeah.
fallen into and stuff. So and a lot of them, like people think it's only girls who have body image issues. Guys have it as well. Guys have it as well, maybe in different ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of dudes, they want that fitness, they want to like work out, they want to either like get jacked and stuff. And some of them don't realize like, oh, that jacked six packs, like a lot of that's like kind of like it's a movie,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hollywood, like the Chris Hemsworth,
Yeah.
like, unrealistic look. So like if they find like a Muslim guy who's chill, showing healthy fitness, I think that's always like good. It's providing a healthy alternative. Even if it's one or two people, that's still one or two less people, getting into the poison
Yeah.
of like Andrew
Yeah.
Tate and that stuff.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just all. I feel like all that kind of stuff is like hyper focused. Like the whole Andrew Tate. Like yeah, there is merit to the idea of things that he talks about, but it's not in the right direction. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like it's
Yeah.
not
Hmm.
like, some this is a whole different topic,
There's a
but
reason
Well,
why it's catching on, basically.
yeah,
yes.
because
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
guys have kind of lost their way,
Yeah.
their perspective of how to be alpha, like that whole alphabet, just like being like a man. Like
Hmm.
Arab said, just be a
Masculinity.
rajal, like
Yeah.
yeah, just be a man, like that kind of thing. Like, but at the same time, we see stories of the Prophet ﷺ, like where he had, there when Surah Duha was like revealed to him, he had a sense of anxiety and this and that, not confident. Like, why isn't Allah like? There was a period of
Yeah.
time where there was no revelation.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there has to be a balance, and that's kind of the issue with everything. I feel like in every aspect of any realm or industry or topic or this, there's always an imbalance of things. And I don't want to go too Star Wars, but yeah.
uh,
We love our verbal side quests, so
yeah,
it's fine.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, you almost had me tempted to go into the Star Wars thing, but one thing I
Yeah.
did want to ask is, since you did mention, your journey as the Beast,
Mhm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey? I know we've talked about it before, so I'm pretty familiar with it, but
Yeah.
for our viewers, listeners, and for Laughing Man here as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of, I'll kind of skip a little bit ahead. Other than, I'll keep the years before that event. I kind of keep it a little bit private.
Okay.
But I didn't really grow up to like I didn't grow up like a lot of other kids. There were a lot of different factors that affected me leading up to that moment. When I think it was 3 days after the third. Well, there's week 0 at UCR or Cal State or whatever. So essentially, okay, day 3, but week 1, I got a call. My dad had passed away, Allah yarhamu, and
Allah
that kind of changed my whole life, like whole trajectory. Like subhanallah, he got me into gaming. He got me into a lot of sports and martial arts and training, and I picked up gaming more than everything else. But he tried to like teach me and keep me on balance. But subhanallah, like I kind of, I wasn't, in terms of health wise, I wasn't going the right direction, and I had someone, an Muslim actually. He kind of took me under his wing. He was like in his 30s at the time, and I was turning 19. and he kind of told me, it was like, dude, you have, a mom and two younger sisters, and you're the only man in the house. Like, either you're gonna be the hindrance to the family, like health wise, or you could be the benefit. And that kind of changed my whole perspective. And I kind of just got addicted to the gym in terms of I'm tired of being. I've always struggled with weight. I would be a fat boy, skinny, this that, but it was never really fit or consistent or on a long term perspective of how I took that lifestyle. It was always like short bursts. So that was kind of the thing that kind of changed my whole life in perspective and moved into the direction I am now. SubhanAllah, like it changes everything. It changes your perspective on life, especially like, you're a young man still, you're in college, you don't know. Sometimes you don't have that person to like, you have your friends and everything, but your dad's your dad. So you don't have that guidance, and I was always getting it from other people. I started talking to people much older than me that, that I'm not related to. They just, took me under their wing, or friends that are older. So in terms of that keeping it short, but that's kind of the story that kind of shaped me who I am in the last 14 years. And I kind of live by that moment and those rules till this day. And I'm still like growing and learning. And there's sometimes life just gets getting more complex and harder. And as much as you think you have it figured out, there's still more lessons to be learned. From that era of my life. Like, I still kind of go back and I dissect things and try to improve myself from that. So yeah, that's my story. And that's how I got into fitness, and that's where I am today.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes, is like almost a rude awakening. Of like, someone has to like talk some sense into you. Sometimes it's like a verbal slap. Like, what are you doing with yourself?
Yeah, and that kind of like forced me to kind of be the man of the house, like play that role. My mom had to work, so she was financially taking care of the house, but I just managed everything else. Supportive, being there for my sisters, my mom, X, Y, and Z, everywhere, and everything I can do at 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, you name it, till today, like, even though I'm on my own and I'm married and everything, and I still support them as much as I can in every way. I know a lot of people who just move out and never talk to their parents ever again, like, or have no relationship with their family. So as much as my life progresses, like, I still have them, so that's a huge other responsibility. Going back to the whole Andrew Tate thing, like being a man at alpha, like that to me, that's what that means, so that's just about what you say and how you behave in a negative manner.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of segueing it with that, with all the different responsibilities that you have as a husband, and as a father to a pretty young child as well. Mashallah. Congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you.
And working full time, creating all this gaming content. How do you balance it all between all of that?
Dude, balance, like, I feel like it's so hard. Like, sometimes you feel like I can't do it all today. I can't do this. So, I mean, for me, I have my non-negotiables. Obviously, your family's non-negotiable. Your dean's non-negotiable. Like, you have to go to work. So you have like pockets of time that you I sometimes still struggle with it. Like, it's never perfect because your energy is never the same. The day is never the same. The week's never the same. And like, something comes up and it just throws up everything that you had momentum with. You know what I mean? Like, you slept bad one day and it just ruins the next few days.
Absolutely.
So in terms of my other non-negotiables, like my health and fitness, like I wake up for years I wake up 4 or 5 a.m. and I go to the gym before, whether I'm working or not, day off, whatever. I try to get the gym done in the morning. That's kind of how I start my day. Just for number one, just to change to get my mood and perspective in the right direction, and just kind of wake up my body. Sometimes when I don't work out, I wake up, I kind of feel just kind of sluggish. Just to keep that energy going. It's kind of weird that like, I'm gonna go use energy to stay energetic. It kind of, over time, you start noticing the difference. But that's like my number one non-negotiable. Like, gaming is a huge part of my life. This whole thing is a huge part, and I want it to be, and I want it to stay there. But I have other things that are more priority than that. Like, I can't have this. I feel guilty gaming if I skip the gym, don't take care of this, take care of my responsibility. Like, I can't even enjoy sitting here for an hour or two, maybe all day or whatever it is, to sit there and game. So in terms of balancing, like, I feel like it's just the non-negotiables that are important. And then over time, you're able to fit in those other moments. But as we mentioned, like as you get older, life gets more complex, more responsibilities. It becomes harder and harder. But you find different ways. You're interested in different types of games, and there's always phases in life. Like sometimes, like you're able to play 2-3 hours a night online Warzone or whatever it is you play, or single player games, and then there'll be like a spur of 6 months, 8 months that you're like, hey, I don't have the time to do that. I can just that's just how it is. So
Right.
Everyone's always trying to like do everything to the max all the time, without understanding life is long but short, but there's more time. It's as you have to like you understand that your life is on a ticking time clock, but to understand that hey, there's inshallah another day, another month, another this I could do that, and it's not everything. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just about what effort you put into to make it happen in the end, and just accept that over time it'll get easier, or sometimes you have to cut back a little.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kind of on that note, I know you did mention that family is a non-negotiable, but this question is more so for myself and also maybe other people that are other married folks that are, in our shoes. How do you navigate that with your spouse? I don't know if your wife games as much.
No.
Mine doesn't. I've talked about it many times. I've tried getting her into it. It just doesn't work.
She
Even a
likes
game like
Overcooked.
Overcooked, she says it involves too much button pressing.
Really?
Where Overcooked, which only involves like 1 or 2 buttons. But yeah, it's just not her thing. And she'd rather, like, if she is gaming, she'd rather just play something like Sims or whatever. It's her thing. But sometimes, I tend to run into challenges of like, oh, you're playing too much, or and it's more of like not a question in a criticizing way, but in more of like a curiosity, a wonderment way. Is like I sometimes she says something like, oh, I can't believe I married someone who's this into gaming.
Yeah.
So have you had to navigate anything like that? Or
my wife loves Overcooked, but she's not like a gamer. Like she'll
Okay.
play. There's times of it, like there's a couple of things that she enjoys, but it's not like she's a gamer and always going to be exploring new games.
not
in
to your
terms
level,
of
basically.
Yeah, no. Like I think I've overkilled it, and I don't think I don't think it's healthy. But
Does she play other like does she have a favorite game per se?
Other than Overcooked, like her and her sisters kind of grew up like the Wii, Mario games. Like they had a PlayStation here and there. Like they were just kids. Like hey, like everyone else has a console, like we'll have it too. But it wasn't like a center point of their life. Like she likes It Takes Two. We played it together.
Okay.
She's excited to play the new one.
With Fiction?
She wants to play that. Like she likes those type of games. She doesn't like and she's not going to be playing multiplayer FPS games, this and that. Like I'll show her, I'm like, hey, like she likes certain VR games that I show, like Beat Saber and those type of things that are like the more casual person. Like, hey, I have this console and I'm just going to play like a couple games and that's it. Like, kind of like that. She likes more local co-op games like this, which
That's
is a very
fair.
rare game, very rare genre nowadays.
Like social, kind of like
social, yeah,
social
Jackbox,
co-op.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. I remember when I first met her family, I had a 360 and I would take the 360 over, and then there's like adults and like very young kids, and I'm just the gamer kid, and I got everyone to start playing Mortal Kombat Injustice, and we do like a tournament, like with the adults, the kids, and everything. In the beginning, it was kind of like, and then eventually everyone would look forward to like the Thanksgiving, the holidays, the Memorial Day weekend, whatever. And then we eventually got into the I love like choice-based games, like Detroit Become Human and all those type of games. Where every time I found like a new one came out, they would get excited and I would bring it over and we finish it in that weekend or that day as far as we can. And everyone would participate, kids, adults, whatever. But some people who like were there from start to finish, and some adults like check it out for a little bit and then like leave. You also have like the FIFAs, the NBA 2Ks when other family members would come and visit. So I kind of helped make it more of like a group thing to be enjoyable. That's the type of gaming she's into. But she definitely understands over time. Like at the beginning, she was kind of like, what is this gaming thing? Let's go out, let's go this. And like I want to play games. And so we kind of have like a thing where it's like, hey, like if I want a game, like I'll try to not do it where it's like during the day. Maybe there's some exceptions. I'll try to either do it at night or early in the morning. Just kind of depends if I'm gonna be playing with people or just by myself. So she understands like it's a type of like therapy or my thing that I need a dose of it daily or every other day at least, but there are times where like I won't play for a few days and that's fine, but she understands now, like she just knows, okay, he just needs his time, that's it, like, but that's over years and years, but I try to make it where sometimes she's included, her family's included, or my family.
Nice.
They like their Mario Karts and all that stuff. They enjoy those too, so
yeah,
they're not hardcore, but like you said, social casual gaming.
Yeah, gaming's like I think it's like a spectrum, and I think most reasonable people would agree. Some people, they're into more multiplayer. Some people, they're only into single player story stuff.
Yeah.
And some people, they like, couch co-op, like social stuff. So there's something for everyone,
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Kind of switching gears a little bit. Since we are the Muslim Gamers podcast, do you constantly think about being a Muslim in the content creator space, in the gaming space? How do you think it's influenced some of the content that you present online? I know, especially with the way you present online, you've talked about how important Deen is to you, mashallah. But specifically in like the gaming sense, like how does that play in?
Well, I definitely try not to even hide my identity. I was like, sometimes in some videos I said my name is Mohammad. Like, I've been on other VR podcasts too, and I'm not shy to keep that away. In terms of like affecting my content, obviously I wouldn't post, do, or talk about anything that show anything that it would either go against, or like it's not really a good idea to do that type of thing. I kind of try to make it towards, it's like the content that I try to make is more towards obviously the people who are like hardcore a little bit, but also kind of keep it for the casual, where it's like it's not I don't want to say family friendly like Nintendo, but like not explicit.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like
kind of like either like rated E or rated T.
Yeah, PG, like stuff like that. Like that's it. But like it's not, hey, it's just me, Mario, and Toad, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna do, and never gear it towards kids and play I don't know. There's this VR cat game that everyone plays. All these kids play. I don't know why, but it's not really like that. In terms of being a Muslim, like yeah, like if I mean, it would be pretty awesome, if it grew that big. Like I wouldn't shy from it. Like I've included it into my fitness stuff before too. Some of the videos I've made, some of the conversations I've had with people like online, and even like in my posts, like I would say, oh, alhamdulillah, like I was able to do this. Like I don't shy from it, I was on a powerlifting team. I mean, and everyone knew like I was Muslim. I would like, there were competition me. I was like praying. I was showing people, hey, instead of eating Sour Patches before a lift, eat some dates. Like, what the hell's a date? Like, what is this? Like, and then my coach started eating dates and getting addicted. So like, I don't try to like force it, but I don't try to hide it. I just keep it natural,
Okay.
And I know most with gaming, with Deen, it's kind of hard. Like, hey, like I'm just gonna talk about. I mean, if I wanted to do a whole dissecting series of the first Assassin's Creed and talk about Deen, like I'm down for that. But there's only one game like you could do that with. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, Mario's actually Muslim, but when he crouches in Mario 64, it's actually as a joke. But it's kind of hard with gaming to make it always about Deen. But that's what's cool about this podcast. You just have a bunch of Muslims gaming.
I mean,
what I'm saying?
To be honest, even we have trouble. I shouldn't say we have trouble. We don't always. Like it's not always like Deen talk 100% of the time.
It's hard because it's a game. It's not like, hey, it's a movie. Like a movie has this, sometimes, I mean, there's some games, there are stories that you can sometimes like for instance, like God of War, right? Obviously the title is kind of weird, but in terms of like the father son, like how a kid related, you can sometimes tie that in, but like there's only so much you can do. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of just keep it casual and just keep it natural whenever it flows and comes out, Yeah.
I found that, like, I think that's kind of the prophetic example, and the Sahaba, like, people have this idea that proselytizing Islam is having like a soapbox and like the whole ask me anything about Islam thing, which I guess could work in some environment situations, but the vast majority of Islam that spread throughout history was because, oh hey, these group of merchants, they're kind of chill, trustworthy people. Hey, where are
Mhm.
they from? Oh, they
Yeah.
believe in this. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's kind of how Islam spread through character, and that's what I found works best. It's like, oh hey, this Muhammad guy or this Ahmed, this Jamal, whatever. He's super chill. He's a really trustworthy guy, and he happens to be Muslim. Like
Yeah.
that, I found is always like the best, showcase of religion. And in regards to like religion and gaming, I found that yeah, you're rarely gonna find like a game or a TV show that directly references Islam. But honestly, I find direct references kind of boring and
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
uninteresting.
Yeah.
I like what you mentioned, like taking the father-son relationship in God of
Mhm.
War. Or I can name a bunch of RPGs where some of them deal with like religious theological themes, like, and you could take the themes of oppression and tie that into like a religious like you could actually be creative and take almost any theme in like a story-based game and take like an Islamic lesson out of it.
Yeah.
Personally,
I mean, just
Definitely.
look what happened to most IPs in movies. Even now, you're seeing it in games where they're trying to shove blatantly, it's out in the open, the social political agenda or ideologies. Like, hey, and then people are just getting turned off from it. Star
Mhm.
Wars is like the number one thing that you start seeing it got ruined so fast
Right. Mhm.
because they're trying to shut like, and it turned everyone off. Like, even though some people might agree with it, whatever idea they're pushing, it's too open. It's just like people enjoyed a fictional story because it was fictional and there
Mhm.
are undertones of a certain topic.
Right.
And you just
subtlety.
dissect, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, we're just gonna have a person that looks like this, their orientations like this, and it's all gonna be about this and they're suffering
Mhm.
as that. And I'm like, dude, like if I wanted to do that, I'd just go outside and just ask someone and tell me some what you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here, this is my escapism or my entertainment for me to just enjoy.
I don't know if this is a hot take of mine. How many of you guys are aware of the show called Midnight Mass that is on Netflix? It was a limited
I
series.
liked it. I watched it.
Midnight Mass.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Hold on.
It
Was it that the
The
guy who
horror
made?
shit.
Yeah, I
How
okay. Yeah, Haunting of
haunted,
Hill House.
haunting. I always
Haunting of
mix
Hill.
up the wording. I say
mm,
haunted Hill House, Hill House
Haunt,
haunting. Yeah, it's that
yeah.
same director.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I
right.
remember. I watched that. Yeah,
Okay.
it was interesting.
So my hot take is there's one Muslim character in there. Kind of a minor spoiler
Yeah,
for
The
something that's
sheriff.
revealed in there. I mean,
yeah,
it's he's always shown to be someone who's Muslim. He's always talking about his kid to pray, and they have a Catholic church there where they're always inviting him, like, "Hey, come, be a part of our thing." And he's like,
yeah,
"No, I'm Muslim. That's not what I do. So thank you for the invite, but no thanks." And then it gets to this one part halfway or more than halfway through the show where he's having this dialogue with one of the other characters, and he just goes into this complete entire exposition dump of like his Muslim backstory and what it's like to be Muslim post 9/11. I felt that to be forced. Like I felt like it
yeah,
was a little bit too ham-fisted, where it was like it didn't feel like a natural conversation I'd have with somebody where, out of nowhere,
yeah,
a character that hasn't really had that much to talk about all of a sudden is just there to talk about um you know what it's like being Muslim in post 9/11 America. Not that there was anything he said that I disagree with. I'm just talking about more
yeah.
of the way it was delivered, where it's like something like that I can see how it could turn someone off. Like, even though I do appreciate, like, hey, a part of my story is being told here as well as a Muslim myself, but maybe there's a better way to do it. I don't know.
It
It's
kind
funny
of
you meant
disconnects you.
Yeah.
it's funny you mentioned that. Most people I know, they didn't see that as a problem. Like
Mhm.
most of my friends who watched it were non-Muslim. The problem they had was that director. I like that director. I generally like his work, but he sometimes gets a little too. He uses over exposition,
Okay.
and the scene where the girl's giving a speech about like what her feelings on what happens after you die, and she
Mhm.
talks about being made into like stuff of stars. That speech happens twice. The first time it was good. It felt when she's talking to the guy, the atheist guy who's a
Mhm.
recovering alcoholic. He killed,
Yeah,
the girl in an accident.
Right.
They're talking and they're both she's religious and they're both discussing, hey, what do you think happens after we die? That part made sense. And then after she's like actually dying and she has that internal monologue again, it's kind of a rehash and it's like, okay, this did not need to happen
Okay.
twice. But that director in general, he has a little bit of a habit of he likes his over exposition, like monologues and stuff. But yeah.
There's one question I don't know how I skipped over it that I wanted to ask earlier.
It's all good.
But when I was looking up your stuff, when I first, so for those that don't know, I know Mohammad personally, like from our own lives, for a while, and it wasn't until like a little bit more recently that I found out you do a lot of gaming content online too. So when I first typed in Mobeast Gaming on YouTube, I don't know if anyone's ever told you this, but do you know that YouTube always asks, "Did you mean Mr. Beast
Mr.
Gaming?"
Beast, yeah.
I when I googled him before this, like in preparation for this episode, I saw Mr. Beast's face, and I was like, "Wait, is he?" I had to do several double takes.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so the problem is that this name Mobeast is not something I came up with. I was gonna say that it came up from playing basketball, and it just caught on. Someone just called me Mobeast, and that was it. I always played power forward center, and that was it. So when I decided to make this channel, I was like, dude, what do I put it? Like, I don't like my Xbox 360 name. It's a name that only few people know. I'm like, this is not something that's like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I was like, dude, I'm not really like, I'm not like super creative. I'm a little creative, but like in terms of a name, like what do I do? Like, and at the time it was like everyone put, gaming at the end of their channel. Now it's like you could do whatever and it'd be a gaming channel. I was like, I was gonna put Mobeast for now. And I just kept it. I didn't even know Mr. Beast existed. I didn't know there was a Mr. Beast. I didn't know till like maybe 5-6 years ago who this guy was. And I'm like, this guy and I like are not the same person. Like, and so, and I'm just like, now sometimes when I search it, I sometimes come up and he doesn't. It just depends.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, if it helps me get more traction, I'm not gonna say no. But whatever. I'm just saying it wasn't purposeful. I didn't know the guy existed. I had the name before him, and that's it. This was like I had the name 2007. I had this nickname. So this is many years ago.
Yeah.
The part you said, you don't mind if it gives you traction. Just want to be careful if he gets some negative press again, and then someone thinks your channel is his, and they start leaving angry comments.
I'm just saying I have a better beard than him, so it's hard to mix us two up. So that's all. Like,
I was trying
can't argue with that one.
I don't make thumbnails like that. Like I don't really do those.
Dude, I get it. I get why, but I just hate the whole the that clickbaity, like, and if you don't do it, your channel won't grow. Like it won't go up in the algorithm. But yeah, those stupid those stupid shocked face thumbnails.
That's why when I was doing thumbnails for our podcast for the YouTube content, I would just put us as like smiling faces or maybe we're laughing. It's not like, we're unnaturally going or something like that, It's
oh my God, he said what?
Yeah. One thing I do want to ask about, kind of shifting gears back to what we're talking about a little bit. I'm sure, you get other Muslims that see your content, and especially with, the fact that you do, you don't shy away from, displaying your Islam or that you are Muslim. Do you get messages from other Muslims who feel inspired by your content or have seen your content?
Not really, no. I only really get a lot of questions about some of my more successful videos are things that are very niche, where it's like the casual wouldn't do it. It's like a technical problem with something like a mod or whatever.
Okay.
But I've never really had anything in terms of, oh, you're Muslim, this and that. Like I never really got any of that.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm still fairly small, so I don't think I probably get that eventually.
Okay.
But I haven't got that yet.
Okay. Last question. Looking back, do you think there's anything you would have done differently when you first started?
Started much earlier. I was never really consistent. I was just doing it casual. And the reason I picked it up, dude, I was just because, like, I had a negative taste with like YouTube and online. I'm like, what? I'm just not that type of person. I did one of the game room videos. I did a reveal. I just did it. I was like, I'm just going to do it. Everyone was asking for it. Like my friends would just do it. I was okay, fine. I did it. I never looked at it ever again. One day, I think months later, I looked at it, had 30,000 views. I was like, oh, okay. And then I still didn't do it enough. Like I just like casually did it here and there.
Right.
I feel like if I had done it much earlier, it would have been better. But I feel like I wasn't, probably wouldn't have been as successful because I was in the right headspace to do it. Because it does take time. You have to be disciplined, consistent, and you kind of have to be creative. Because I've noticed sometimes when you obviously follow certain trends, it's hard to compete with views. So you have to kind of always find a balance between the two. Like any business, like you have to like stay like relevant to everyone else, but you kind of have to have your own flair with things. So I feel like now I'm kind of better at just be able to dissect that. It's a little bit easier. It takes time with wisdom, experience, and as you go on through life, it's easy for you to like decipher between the two. I feel like if I had started before, probably I wouldn't be as successful, but time. But I mean, it is what it is in the end, you know. It's all nasiib. But I kind of just do it as a fun thing, and if it comes up, it comes up. Doesn't, whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes you know the anxiety comes in, or not the anxiety, but the frustrations and more the discouragement comes in when you're just looking at like, oh, I'm not getting this many views, or I'm not hitting that many views, or oh, I thought this would have gotten more views or something like that. So when you're doing it just for the fun, it's like, hey, I want to put this out, if people like it, it's great. That's where I've personally found more joy in that.
Yeah.
You know, since we are the Muslim Gamers podcast, we've been talking so much about, you know, your journey and, you know, all the things you've, you know, gone through, Mohammad, with your gaming channel and everything else. And alhamdulillah, we've had a pretty good discussion so far about that. But let's talk a little bit about some of the games that we're playing. So Mohammad, since you're a guest, you know, you can go first. Can you just talk about any of the games that, you know, you feel are noteworthy to talk about?
So I mean, I do. I mean, you always have a couple games that you play just like a staple, quick in,
like your forever game, basically.
Yeah, for like right now, it's just Verdansk is back. So me and my friends play that. Space
That's
Marine
a Warzone
2
map, right?
Yeah, Warzone. Yeah, the original one. I've been getting back into Space Marine 2. Like every time there's an update, we get back into that. I recently got into Warhammer a couple of years ago.
Do you do the whole like buying the figurines and painting?
Yeah, I haven't painted yet. I've just been building, so I have a big pile of gray plastic shame. So that's what they call it. So the painting part's the hard stuff. So that, and I have a lot of games that are just like unfinished. Like that's the problem. Is like I don't have the time to finish something. And I gotta try this new one. So the games. So a game I've been waiting to play. Actually, I've been waiting for the Switch 2 to come out. Was Zelda Breath of the Wild. I tried so many times, man. Like I was like, I'm a very graphic nerd. If it doesn't look a certain way, I'm like, dude, I'm tired of the frame rates or the bad resolution. I plug it into my 4K, it looks worse. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna wait. So I'm excited to actually play that. But the games that I'm currently playing single player are Death Stranding 1. I never got into it. I never played it when it first came out. So I've been playing on the PC and it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It's very different. So I'm playing that.
It's a very Kojima game.
Very Kojima game, yeah.
Have you played other Kojima games?
So I've played Metal Gear Solid 1, but I've never finished it. And I'll tell you why. So I was a kid that was only allowed one console per generation. Okay? So I had N64. My dad decided what console we had. He bought the N64. I didn't know N64 existed. He bought us a PS2. I didn't even know it existed. Like you know, like you don't have the internet as a kid. You just say what on TV was. So, and I was limited on what games I could play. So I go to my friend's house. So eventually I was like, yo, I want to get this game when we go to Syria, buy it bootlegged. It worked to a certain point and it just stopped working. I was like, dude, like, so I never finished it. Okay. I do plan on like playing it. There's certain series that I missed out on as a kid that I played from start to finish just to enjoy. And Metal Gear Solid is one of them. And I'm trying to do that before the remake for Solid Snake this summer. I don't know if I'll finish it in time. Snake Eater. Snake Eater. Thank you. That's how much of a noob I am for the series. But I mean, I watch a lot of the retrospectives and documentaries for a lot of games just to see in terms of development and the business side of everything. And some of like the Metal Gear series is one of the ones I've watched a lot. So I kind of know where his headspace is at. Some spoilers were spoiled for me, but nothing too crazy.
That's inevitable, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's inevitable. So it's Death Stranding, Oblivion, I think those are the 2 single player games recently that I've been playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you play OG Oblivion at all before?
No, so I had a choice between that or Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 1, like the first one. And all my friends were on that. I was like, dude, can I get both? I couldn't. I only can get one of them. I ended up with neither, by the way. So
Okay,
Man.
so
Wait, what
that
did you end up?
sucked.
What did you pick then?
So
Back then.
back in terms of which game I bought,
Yeah, because you said you ended up with
neither.
with neither.
And
of
for
them,
some
yeah.
reason, I didn't end up getting a game at that time.
Oh,
Then by the time Modern Warfare 2 came out, I picked that up for sure. I was like, Modern Warfare 2, Assassin's Creed, and everything. Sometimes like your parents were like, yeah, I'm gonna get you that. Then like, you know what, you're not getting anything. I'm like, oh crap. Like nothing could happen. It's like they just changed their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I had like Assassin's Creed, the whole like 1 through Brotherhood, Modern Warfare 2. So there was a time where they kind of like felt guilty, so they just kept, you know. Yeah. So there are a lot of games in my backlog that I do want to plan and visit that are upcoming, but in terms of what I'm playing right now, those are the games.
Nice, definitely. Cool. Funny story about Death Stranding. My first time playing, it wasn't my first time playing it, but when I was actually trying to get into the game and actually play through it, it was after my my second kid was born.
Okay.
And I was playing it on the PS4. And the time I would play is after I put him to bed. And he's sleeping in the bedroom and I'm playing in the living room and I have the baby monitor next to me. And it's right after you get the baby. And you strap it onto you, in the little plastic embryo that you carry around. And then all of a sudden I hear what sounds like him crying from the baby monitor, but the baby monitor is not active at all. And it's coming out of my PS4 speaker,
yeah.
and it's the baby, and I'm like, I cannot play this game at this stage of my life when my kid is this young. But
24/7 baby cries.
Just to have that be triggered. And but I did try to get into it later. It's beautiful on PC, especially when you have an ultra wide. I know you've been showing off your curved ultra wide LG monitor on your channel lately.
It was an impulse buy. I almost thought, I was like, maybe this
it was a buy. The way you were tagging LG, I thought they sent it out to you.
I was trying. They emailed me, talked a little bit, and they just ghosted me. I was like,
oh man.
I was like, I won't buy it. And then one day I was just,
is it an OLED?
The OLED 5K 2K.
I recently got an OLED myself, and can't go back.
Yeah, so like before this monitor, I had a combo of a regular ultra wide that's not OLED, and I had the LG C2, which is to this side here, OLED. So I was like, you know what? I don't need a regular 4K monitor. I have a 4K TV. I could just play my single player games on, and then anything else ultra wide, I could switch between the two. Best of both worlds. I got a 5090. I was like, dude, like I still don't feel the need to buy a monitor. Then when I saw the 5K 2K, I was like, this is exactly what I'm waiting for. Something great, like more. It's definitely overkill, and you definitely need some serious hardware to run it, because I don't think it'd be enjoyable if like you're running something that's lower frames. I would just stick to a regular ultra wide.
Mm-hmm.
But it's awesome. But dude, I have to keep it so far back, because if it's too close, my eyes start hurting. Like it's too much. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking one day when I upgrade my, because I have a sim racing setup as well.
Wait,
right now,
do you have, how much of a setup is it?
It's not much. It's a chassis, like a cockpit with a steering wheel, pedals, Logitech G29, just pretty
with
basic.
The chair.
With the chair, like it's all in the cockpit and everything.
Yeah. So
with the 49-inch 4K TV attached to it, gear shifter and handbrake. And mostly playing PS4, but sometimes I carry because it's in my garage, so I have to carry my PC over to the garage to play over there.
So I'm pretty big in sim racing. I started sim racing on Gran Turismo 3 with the wheel and everything. So the reason I got this, so before this, I was like, okay, I wanted a new job. Like in the last several years, okay, I won't buy a sim racing rig till I get a new job. Just like I gotta hold myself together. I almost bought one last year.
Okay.
Then we found out we're pregnant. Oh well, there goes.
Yep.
There goes my chances. So I was like, whatever. I was trying to get like a Moza or something.
Okay.
Like, I wanted one that was like dual PC and PS5 just for Gran Turismo 7.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't find. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get only PC. Like I'm done.
Right.
So I
There's
ended
ways
up
to get the
getting
most
it.
that'll work on the PS5 too, but we'll talk about that offline.
Yeah. There, I have one, but I just want a native one
Okay.
because you do lose some.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Because I have a Thrustmaster, the new direct drive that they came out with,
Okay.
the basic one. So I always wanted something a little bit more powerful. So then I was like, okay, once I get a job, I'll get it. So when I got this new job, I was like, this monitor is cheaper. So that was my justification. I was like,
Okay.
if I'm gonna go sim rig, I need a lot more space. Like I want to have like a full on, like a dedicated monitor for it. And that, you know, you need so much space for that. I was like, you know what?
Yeah. Trust me.
And
Preaching to the
if
choir.
I
I know.
have, yeah, and it's way too expensive nowadays. Like I was like, you know what? A monitor is cheaper and more useful.
Yeah.
But
And eventually maybe you could use the monitor for the sim racing.
one day. So I just have
yeah.
the basic like foldable chassis, no chair. I just use my like office chair.
Okay.
I have an attachment that can hooks the chair up from the bottom so it doesn't scoot back on the wheels.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
So I forgot it was a T598 or T5
something like that. Yeah. I'm not too familiar with the Thrustmaster.
It's not that bad, man.
Yeah.
It's actually people were saying, "Oh, it's not that strong." I was like, "Dude, I don't know. This is pretty good for what it is. I'm good."
Every time I look at like, you know, I'm happy with my Logitech G29. It's a $200 wheel and pedal set. It's you know, it's perfectly fine for me. And every time I think about upgrading, I'll go on the Fanatec website and start building my wish list or whatever. And I'm like, I don't play with my current setup enough as it is to justify spending like $1,000+.
I had a TS,
but it is fun to window shop.
Yes, it is fun to window shop. Yes,
I think it's the excitement. Yeah, I had a Thrustmaster TX and a TSPC after, like all belt. This is my first direct drive. Like,
okay, at least you start out with belt. I'm still on the gear, so it starts like making a lot of noise.
Dude,
the gear.
My
gear
TX lasted 8 years.
Nice,
but it wasn't like consistent, like hardcore. It was like spurts. You know what I'm saying? But dude, that thing gets loud.
Yeah,
just to keep it cool. It's like,
okay.
It was from 2013. It was
from
2013 when I bought it, or 2013. Lasted a long time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, with the gear driven ones, it's just the gears that make a lot of noise, especially when you're driving cars that are harder to drive or like doing like dirt, like rally type stuff. I used to have it set up in my bedroom on my desk. So, and usually, usually I'd game when my wife went to sleep. Anytime I played any rally game, she'd wake up.
Yeah.
That's just how loud it was. Yeah. But yeah, we went down a sim racing rabbit hole. Thanks for sharing some of the games you've been playing. Mohammad, Laughing Man, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been playing?
Yeah, so...
And I think I know one of the games you're going to talk about since I've been watching you play that too.
So last month and a half, I marathoned the entire FromSoft Souls catalog. Some of them were replays, like Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I already played years back. But so these were replays. The DLC I didn't play, so those were new. Sekiro Bloodborne and Demon Souls PS3 version, those were all new. And after that, I played Lies. I recently finished Lies of P. And out of all of them, I would say Bloodborne, Lies of P, and Sekiro would be my favorite. Elden Ring, I think, is a little... I finished that one and the DLC last year. I would say it's a little overrated, personally, because the open world, it's cool and beautiful the first time, and then like now I'm replaying Elden Ring with a new character, and I'm like, it just feels overwhelming. The other ones are linear, and they're a lot more shorter, simpler. Like Elden Ring, I need to have 3 different spreadsheets open to keep track of bosses, items, and a bunch of stuff. The others, I just need one guide open, and the rest is like my own muscle memory. So after Lies of P, I wanted to... and real quick aside, Lies of P is getting difficulty options. So for those who wanted to try it, but they never played a Souls game, they're overwhelmed, well, it's getting difficulty options, so you could give it a try. And then afterwards, I did want to play the new Clair Obscur Expedition 33, but I have a certain like obsessive habit, so I don't like whether it's a TV show, a game, or something. I don't like starting it and then leaving it off in the middle and then starting another game, especially if it's story heavy stuff. I usually play one game at a time. The only games I can play multiple at a time are like if it's a Souls game, because they have story, but it's not like a God of War or like Red Dead Redemption or Cyberpunk story. So few months before I went down my Souls rabbit hole, I was playing the entire Ace Attorney series, and I had finished them all, and I was on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and I had finished the first case in that, and I was like, okay, I need to finish this before, otherwise my mind is gonna it's gonna feel like icky. It's just a personal thing. So I'm currently finishing up Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, and then after that, yeah, I think I will eventually start Expedition 33, since so many of my friends have played it and have spoken highly of it.
So I have ADHD clearly. I can never finish a game. It's like he's disciplined with finishing.
disciplined.
Like I have ADHD.
Yeah.
So
No,
hard.
I have the opposite issue.
New toy.
I have hyperfixation. I don't know if I have adult ADHD. Based on what some people said, maybe I do. I don't know. I never got it diagnosed. But my issue is hyperfixation. When I go down a rabbit hole, I what was it in 2023? There's a JRPG series called Trails, and I've told Faraj this.
Mm-hmm.
It's the One Piece of JRPGs. From January to August, I played all 10. At the time, only 10 were localized, and each of these is 60 to 80 hours long. I played all 10, did every fishing mini game, every little... I have a hyperfixation issue. So I have the opposite.
I'm obsessive, but I get distracted from my obsession.
Same here.
It's like it just does the opposite. You would think if you're obsessed,
I have the opposite issue.
I have the opposite. I have obsessive, but I'm so obsessed. I want to experience everything possible.
No, I get you. Yeah,
and then you get easily distracted with the new shiny thing.
No, exactly. And for me, it's like, oh, I found this. I'm gonna go down the entire rabbit hole. I'm gonna find every niche reference. I'm gonna look up the developers, what they were eating while they made this level.
Do they come up with the game for that every 8 to 10 months, right?
Which one?
Trails?
Every year-ish, about every year. So
yeah,
Falcom,
I was always seeing new ones. I'm like, dang, bro, yeesh.
Falcom, they're compared to other Japanese devs, they're they only have 60 employees. They're a small company. They're kind of a small indie company. They have two main series, Trails and Wise, or I think it's pronounced Ease. So each year they either come out with a new Trails game or a new Ys game. Yeah. Last year they came out with a new Trails game, and now all the English games have caught up, which is a kind of a dream come true. We're fully caught up, and they're remaking the first Trails game this fall. So
nice.
That's cool.
Going back to what you were talking about with Lies of P, maybe it's just me, but I cannot believe not enough people talk about what I think is the best feature of Lies of P. Yeah, is that the loading bar in the game is Pinocchio's nose.
Oh,
why don't people talk about that enough? That is so awesome.
I could go on a whole I can make a whole episode on the wax poetic about Lies of P and the things it does better than FromSoft Souls games. But one of the other aspects is it has a more direct... There are mysteries, but it has a more direct story, and it's not dark fantasy. FromSoft,
really?
Lies of P is steampunk, steampunk fairy tale. So it took Pinocchio, the story of Pinocchio, but it did a steampunk kind of transhumanist take on it. So instead of AI and robots, they call them puppets. And one of the themes is this isn't a spoiler, but the character you play as Pinocchio, you're a puppet, and throughout several times in the game, you have to make decisions. Do you lie or tell the truth at these decision points? Each time you lie, you slowly become more human. Because one of the puppets, they follow a covenant. If you've read Isaac Asimov and his 3 Laws of Robotics, the puppet covenant is basically based off that, and one of the rules is a puppet can never lie. But Pinocchio is a special puppet who can lie. And each time you lie, you're slowly becoming more human.
Interesting.
And stuff. So it does that really beautifully. And it does other little symbols, symbolism and philosophical themes really nicely. So I like that because FromSoft, come on. You've done 5 dark fantasy games, and dark fantasy is kind of an oversaturated genre. Might be a hot take, but Baldur's Gate 3, Oblivion's not dark fantasy, but it's still fantasy. Give me more
in there.
Exactly. Give me more Bloodborne. It's unique. It's Lovecraftian steampunk. Sekiro. recently there have been a lot more Japanese like
Neo.
what is it, medieval, not medieval, but like, you know, that Warring States era
Mhm.
Yeah.
games. But like that steampunk Victorian, like,
Yeah.
that's barely done, or Lovecraftian fantasy, that's barely touched upon. So that's why Liza P is one of my favorites. That's why Bloodborne is my most favorite FromSoft title, because
Yeah,
it's
because
unique.
Liza P, it felt like what I saw was dark steampunk, but you tell me it's not dark. I was like, that was
It is, no, no, no,
interesting.
it is dark.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's not fantasy. It's
It's
not a
not fantasy.
medieval. It's
Got it.
dark. It is dark. It is a dark steampunk game, but it's
Okay.
not dark fantasy. It's not like, oh, knights, dragons,
Okay.
magic, you know,
Wizards.
wizards and stuff. It takes place in a steampunk setting, in a Victorian. There's guns. There's trains. You know.
Okay, so you'll okay. I'm gonna ask you a question, but I think I'll tie it into this. Do you
Sure.
prefer Resident Evil 7 or 8?
You're kind of asking the wrong person, because those are the only
Okay.
two Resident Evil games I've
Oh, really?
played.
Okay, Faraj, did you play
I'm not a
Resident Evil
big-
7?
So
I'm not
I-
a big horror person, but a
Okay.
friend of mine recently, he's a crazy guy. He gifted me all Resident Evil 1 through 6 on Steam,
Oh
Okay.
wow.
and was like, "Hey, I'm a scaredy cat. Somebody's got to play these." And I was
Okay,
like, "Oh."
so they're not really. Okay, so
But I know the story. I'm very familiar
okay,
with the lore.
so I never grew up playing them, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have my
But I
parents
can
like
a-
during. Yeah,
I can
so
answer your question.
Okay,
I prefer 8.
why?
Because 7 scared the crap out of me. I had to sit on a Discord call with friends, be like,
Okay,
"Hey guys, don't mind me. I'm just here. I just need background noise. I need you guys, you know." 8, I liked it more. Okay, so if you're a horror person, you will like 7 more,
okay,
because it is true survival horror,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
it clearly draws from PT, that, you know, canceled Silent
Mhm.
Hill thing.
hmm
But the reason I liked 8 more is because what I realized about myself, I recently dipped into horror. I like horror where you can fight back, and in
Okay.
8 you can really fight back.
okay.
It's a little more action. It's action horror, so that's why I liked 8 personally more.
Okay, so I never really grew up playing the original ones.
Yeah.
I played 2, the new remake, 2,
Mhm.
3,
Yeah.
4. I'm debating whether I should start flat screen or VR, so I skipped that one. So 7 was my first official Resident Evil.
Same here.
7,
7 was the
I
first.
was like, yo, this game is scary. I need this in VR. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh
I
god.
was like, dude, I live streamed that. I think the replays are still on my channel somewhere. There's
You're
so
crazy.
many times where
You're
I just
crazy.
jump. Like 7 is, I think it's not. It's true. It's horror. Like it's horror,
Oh, yeah.
and it jump
Mhm.
scares you, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not petrifying horror. Like you're like, oh, I don't want to go through this. I don't want to go through this.
It's unsettling.
8, I don't think scary at all.
Okay.
8, I loved it because it was that European, Eastern European, medieval
Yeah.
Victorian
Yeah.
part. But then it changes.
Gothic.
So when you were
the Gothic. There's a
yes,
term. Gothic
yes,
horror.
yes.
Yeah, Gothic
So
horror.
when you were saying I like the Victorian, I was like, dude, I kind of agree with you because 7 is a better Resident Evil game in my opinion, like in terms of gameplay, like horror. But 8, just like you enjoy it. I enjoy it personally because of the environment. Because of the setting.
8 is actually a lot similar to 4. It's kind of like almost like a
Mhm.
spiritual
Yeah.
successor to 4. And from what I've read, 8 originally started out as they were remaking 4, and then they're like, wait, we could
Mm.
take these concepts
That
and
makes
just
sense.
make like a whole
Yeah.
new game.
Because halfway through the game, it goes away from what I liked about it. 8.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it
is a
kinda
fair
changes.
criticism.
It changes, and it goes into a whole different environment. Okay, cool. It's still fun, but like they were advertising so much of that Eastern Victorian Gothic style. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is it, and it just goes in a completely different direction halfway or third way through the game.
The only part that I genuinely got scared, and this is coming from a guy who's still new to the horror genre, was that dollhouse with that baby.
Oh yeah,
that baby. Yeah.
That's, yeah.
that was too short. I think that level was way
Yeah,
too short.
it
Yeah, it was too short.
But I still think it was great. It had a little couple of throwbacks, like the part where I forget his name, but he's the mechanic. He's like, that boulder punching asshole.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yeah, 8 was really good. I wish it was just a little bit longer, or they had it paced better or something. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is good. But 7, dude, like there's mods for it, and I'm like trying to muster up to play in VR because man,
I think the
Dude.
PS4 version has VR. You have to have
Yeah, but I don't have a
PSVR.
PSVR 1. I have PSVR 2.
Oh
So
yeah.
8 is officially supported for VR
Hmm.
on PSVR 2, but not on PC. But the mods out there are just as good. So I'm still debating on when to do that. So,
The only Resident Evil game I've really played through, I played snippets of other ones here and there. I never had a chance to touch 7 or 8 yet, just because of time. But the one enjoyed the most playing was Resident Evil 4, especially the
The
Forza
remake.
remake.
Yeah,
So
I
I
heard the
started
remake
that one.
is.
I started that one in VR. I was like, I had to put it down. I was like, okay, I need to really make a smart
I
decision. Like, I
forgot the
need.
remake one has VR as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh
It's
man.
it's it's good. It's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
I'm hoping one gets a remake in that style. I don't like
Yeah.
tank controls.
Hmm.
Okay.
Or being turned into a Jill sandwich. Um,
If they remake it, that is an iconic moment. Like
I heard
that
there
better
were
be
leaks
there.
of them doing that,
I heard that as well, but I
along
guess
with the next Resident Evil, which is 9.
yeah.
There's been a leak too. So
yeah, that one was like a thanks to the players thing that had this like bunch of wood that was
yeah,
nailed
Yeah, it was like a
together. If
teaser.
you have
Like
to look at it
it looked a
sideways,
little. Yeah.
it
yeah,
spells out 9 in Roman
yeah.
numerals.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if that's kind of far fetched, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is. I haven't really been playing much myself because I'm like just like what you were talking about, Mohammed, where you kind of get into those stages where like you don't really play as much.
Yeah.
But thanks to my Steam Deck, sometimes with work, I'll have like a lunch break or whatever, and get some time to play. So I've been playing through a lot of Serious Sam, which is such a fun game.
Interesting, because
So
I
much
a
fun.
couple
Serious.
months
That's a
ago.
name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, interesting, bro. Because I saw a Humble Bundle pack for it like a couple months ago. I was like, dude, I haven't heard of this game in forever.
Yeah, there's one collection called the Fusion collection that has like all the games in like one hub. I don't think it has Serious Sam 2 because that was more like the cartoony looking one. But yeah, it's a great game for me to just like jump in, shoot a few bad guys and jump out and get back to work.
Yeah.
And for nostalgia's sake, especially since a lot more, or the trailer for GTA 6 came out, I've been wanting to go back and play a little bit of Vice City.
Okay.
So the
Any
Vice City
modded?
Definitive Edition, not the modded one, the regular Definitive Edition.
Or are you
the one
using
made
any
by-
mods?
Not on the Steam Deck, no. But back when I
Okay,
used to play when I was growing up, it was completely modded. And I also did a while ago get to try out the version, the the definitive experience or whatever it's called, where they remade GTA Vice City in the GTA 4 engine. That one is still a little bit buggy, where some of the missions just like I just end up getting stuck in like game breaking bugs. So I haven't gone back to that one yet, even though that is an interesting project. But yeah, those are two that I've been just kind of jumping into a little bit.
You like Shadow Warrior?
Oh, I love Shadow Warrior. I absolutely love Shadow Warrior. Give me more. I was about to say the character's name and see how that would get snipped out and taken out of context. His name is Lo Wang. That's why if I said give me more his name, that would just become a memed moment. So
It's actually one of my favorite FPS because it's sci-fi with fantasy,
Yeah.
and he's a wisecracking like main character. Like it's
every fortune cookie that you come across, I had to screenshot that moment.
the stupid fortune cookie.
Yeah, it's such a fun game. I never got to beat it. I got pretty far. But that surprisingly plays pretty well on the Steam Deck too. So
Yeah. I beat 1 and 2, and I got 3 on sale. I should play it because I heard it's only 6 hours. It's super
I heard
short.
it's pretty short. It's pretty linear as well.
That was one of the
more like
complaints
open world.
of. Yeah, 2 was like kind of Borderlandsy a little bit looter shootery.
Yeah.
But 3 is like more straightforward. Like they went back to the original formula, but the complaint was that it's super short, like only 6 hours.
Wasn't there one that came out recently a couple years ago, like a new one?
That was 3.
That's 3.
That was 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that's the complaint I heard about it too, and that's kind of what turned me off. But yeah, I think might be good to get on a sale.
Yep.
But look at the time. I didn't realize we've been talking for so long. Alhamdulillah, no, thank you so much, Mohammad, for joining us here. I know we had some trouble scheduling, but I'm so glad we were able to do it. I think
was fun.
this turned out to be a really fun episode. Thank you guys for this. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Muslim Gamers podcast. Once again, a huge thanks to our guest Mohammad Oubeid, aka Mobeast, for hanging out with us, sharing his story, his insights, the journey from fitness to gaming content, and a lot more. It was really a pleasure getting to hear about.
No, pleasure's mine, man.
Oh yeah, of course, bro. Yeah,
We'll link his socials in the description when this goes live.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think I should have all your socials, but yeah, just make sure to send me whatever I miss. There's your YouTube and your Instagram at Mobeast Gaming. Well, yeah, thank you so much for joining us here. And once again, to our viewers and listeners, if you've enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment or give us a rating, and share this episode with your friends. Make sure to follow us on our social medias as well. We got Instagram at Muslim Gamers Podcast. Blue Sky is at MG Podcast. Whatever, I'll just include the link for that. And at TikTok, we're just Muslim Gamers GG. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.